Thanks for tuning in. Today I want to talk about the handbags that I've said goodbye to, the handbags I sold from my collection and why. The last couple of videos for 2021 were focused on my best and worst purchases. And while I was reflecting on those purchases, it dawned on me that there are a few handbags that I've actually rehomed, but not a lot. And I thought it would still be helpful to talk through some of those, share some of my thoughts and, the signs, the point at which I know I'm ready to say goodbye to a handbag. If you're tuning in for the first time, hi, I'm Katie. I like to do these luxury fashion videos here on YouTube. I share hauls and reviews, but at the end of the day, I share my journey so we can all mindfully curate our own collections. If you like what you're seeing, please subscribe to my channel, like this video, and leave a comment down below with any handbags that didn't work out for you. All of your support really means a lot to me. I know this outfit is like very distinct, so I just finished filming another video and I wanted to keep rolling with it because it's a cute outfit. But back to the handbags that I have rehomed from my collection. There are only 3 handbags in the close to 10 years that I've really been collecting pieces. There are only 3 handbags that I've actually ever rehomed, ever said full goodbye to. And I think one of them isn't quite surprising, but would be helpful to go into a lot more detail. And that would be my Constance, my Hermes Constance 24. It was an Epsom leather in Gris Etain, the gray color, with Palladium hardware. I got that in 2020. There were several videos where I would talk about the Constance and my sort of love-hate feeling with that bag, and so many of you would leave comments saying like, you should just say goodbye to that bag already. One of you mentioned that it seemed like I was talking about like a boyfriend that I just couldn't get away from. Like for some reason I was just like sticking around this boyfriend and not getting rid of him. So it was funny. Like at first I just like laugh it off, and then I think over time like those comments started to make sense to me too. Like if it's coming off that way on camera, like there's some truth to it, By the summertime, by summer of 2021, I was thinking like, maybe the Constance is a candidate to just let go of. I used it. It's not like I would never carry it. I would carry it, but it's just every time I didn't get the same kind of yummy feeling that I get when I carry out my Birkin, even though I might carry that fewer times a year. So it was like on my radar as like a candidate basically. And then of course I got my Kelly. And once I saw the Kelly, I was like, okay, like I can say goodbye to my Constance. Like I think I'm ready. And I also knew that by rehoming my Constance, it does make it easier for me to add the Kelly to my collection. Like I didn't add the Kelly on the condition that I was going to sell my Constance, but I knew that that was a much better choice. It's another neutral bag. Like it didn't replace what I used my Constance for, but it sort of adds another option, right? And the more options I have, then I know my Constance is sort of going to get pushed to the side. So I was like, why would I let this gorgeous handbag be pushed to the side when I feel like there are a lot of people who would really want something like this? That's why I ultimately decided to rehome the Constance, and I haven't missed it since. I thought there might be a moment in time where I'm like, oh, like I don't have my Constance anymore, and I would think about it, or like I'd put an outfit together and be like, oh, like this outfit would be perfect to carry my Constance, but I haven't. I was almost a little shocked at how much I wasn't missing the bag either, but that's the sign of like a good rehoming situation, So I was really happy about that. I'm really happy that someone else is able to enjoy it, and it just wasn't working out for me. I have a number of videos where I talk about my kind of irks with that handbag. So I'll link them up above and in the description box down below. Feel free to check those out for the full detail of all the things I liked and disliked about the Constance. But I think my main issue was just the flap opening. It's not that it was difficult to open, If anything, it's easier to open than your Kelly, but it's when it came time to close it, I just would always get so annoyed that I needed two hands to close that bag. I wasn't giving it the amount of love that it really deserved, so I wanted someone else to be able to do that and enjoy that handbag to the fullest. That's the biggest piece that I have rehomed from my collection. The other handbag is my Chanel Deauville. I had it in like the medium tote size. So not the large one that you typically see that has the top handle. It was a smaller size. I think it's technically called the small Deauville, like on the tag, but it's like a medium sized tote bag. I think I got that the beginning of 2020. That's really going to be the last time I get another tote bag to be like an everyday kind of bag, because I'm really not a tote bag person. I think at the time I convinced myself otherwise. I really liked the navy color that I had. It was a really beautiful color, and at the time I was using it as like my work bag. It was beautiful for that purpose. And then we know, of course, what hit the world around March of 2020, and I stopped going to the office. I stopped commuting. I really didn't have a purpose for that handbag anymore. When I do go out, I would go for smaller bags because I just needed my essentials and I needed my hands free to get groceries and whatever. Other times, otherwise I wasn't really going out that much. I really lost my use cases for that handbag. And so I just saw it sitting and like collecting dust. Literally, it was just collecting dust. I felt like it would actually be like a pretty good diaper bag, honestly, because of how open it is and you can fit everything in there. Or it would be a really good school bag. Like if you still go to school, it's good to like put all of your notebooks and organize all your things like that. But I have no need for a diaper bag. I don't go to school and I'm not commuting to work, so I was like, I literally don't have any use for this. That's why I rehomed that one as well, and someone else was able to enjoy that. I believe they actually ended up using it sort of like a diaper bag because they had a newborn child. So I was like, oh my gosh, this is perfect. Please enjoy, give it lots of love, but I just knew that wasn't the right fit for my wardrobe. The third and last handbag that I ever rehomed was the Balenciaga work bag. I'm pretty sure I purchased it from Fashion File, so I purchased it pre-loved to begin with, and that's because I was going to use it for a work bag, and at the time I was traveling for work a lot, and I was gonna like traveling via airplane, so I was gonna have to like shove it under the seat in front of me or put it in the overhead compartment, make it go through conveyor belts and stuff like that. So I didn't want to get like a brand new one and then feel bad every time something happened to it. So I got one pre-loved, and I got the work bag because I needed it to be a little bit bigger than like the city style, even though I loved the city more. Once I got it, I realized that it's not big enough. I used it still for a while, like I still made myself carry it as my work bag. I loved the look of it, but it just realistically was not big enough because the sides of that bag were like a bit of a triangle, maybe a trapezoid, but you know what I'm saying? Like the side looked like this versus like totes that are full rectangles on the side, which meant you lost a lot of space. You lost a lot of capacity because you can only put your large things down the center, and like all of your other things had to pool at the bottom of your bag. So even though it felt like it was a larger bag, it wasn't that large and it barely fit all of the things that I needed to travel with. So after I used it for a little bit, I realized it was just too small, and that's when I had to switch to a different bag. Ever since, I kept it. I held on to it for a couple of years actually. I would use it sometimes when I wanted like a bigger bag, or when I was wearing an outfit that I wanted to kind of toughen up with that Balenciaga, you know, the city look. So I used it like here and there over the next couple of years, but really I knew that it also wasn't a good fit for my collection and my lifestyle. So eventually, when I was doing a closet clear out, I rehomed that item as well. When it comes to handbags, those are literally the only 3 handbags that I have ever purchased and rehomed. Most of the items that I get because I have a pretty, what's the word? I have a pretty clear idea of how I want to use that piece, like what I feel like it adds to my collection. And sometimes it's going to be like it's a new color. Sometimes it's going to be, it's a new shape or an entirely new look. Sometimes it's going to be very like specific to just the utility. Sometimes it's to be a certain kind of bag. So it could be like, this one's going to be much more low key, where I don't want to be carrying an Hermes or Chanel handbag, let's say, or where I want it to be much more carefree. So like when I add something, it's pretty clear what that value is going to be, like what I'm looking to get out of that piece. And these 3 handbags are times where I was very clear on that, and then the item just didn't work out the way that I anticipated it to. Sometimes you just have to go through it. Sometimes you just have to try, and that's the best way you're going to know whether it works for you. And then you learn from that. You know, the next time I'm looking for like a work bag or a travel bag, like I'm not going to get one that has like triangular sides, you know what I mean? The next time I'm trying to convince myself that a tote bag is going to be something good, like, oh, it's a larger bag, don't get the tote bag. You don't use totes, you know, like unless I'm really going to get it for a travel bag purpose. You know, I can see myself getting a large tote to be like a huge travel bag, but you know, for an everyday bag, I'm not going to really use totes. But the main sign, the main way that I know I'm ready to say goodbye to a handbag is not purely like how much did I use it in the past year, because there are some bags in my collection that I might only use once or twice in a year, but I never think about saying goodbye to that handbag. The main telltale sign for me is I don't get joy when I use the item. Even for items that get used only a handful of times throughout the year, there's that spark I get when I use it, because I'm like, oh yeah, I had this, like, oh my gosh, I like forgot, but like, oh yeah, this is why I really like this piece. I hear myself having that kind of conversation in my own head. I know, crazy, but I hear myself making those kinds of comments like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I forgot about this, right? But there are those pieces where I'm like, oh, I had this, oh yeah, oh man, I should use that, like I haven't used that in a while, right? Like I should use it. When I hear myself saying that, then I know it's not the right fit, and I know that's a contender to say goodbye. The whole point of really, I mean, there's of course utility, but you know, like the whole point of these pieces is really to help you feel good and like, you know, helps you get around your day. Like I don't want these pieces to be like a drag. I don't want it to be like something I have to constantly remind myself that I have to wear these or use these, or you know what I mean? So that's my number one telltale sign. When you use something, do you get excited about it again? Even if you haven't used it for a year, even 2 years, when you do use it, do you get excited? Do you actually get upset at yourself for forgetting that you had that in your collection? Then that's a keeper, because then that's something that you know, like time over time, even if it's only a few times a year, like you'll use it and you'll enjoy it. But if you're not, then maybe it's like, why is it not working for you? Like, is it uncomfortable in some way? Does it not fit for some reason? Does it bother you? Do you feel like it's not the right color? Like try to analyze a little bit of what that root cause might be, and then you know you can better determine whether you're ready to say goodbye, or you know want to challenge yourself for the next period of time to be able to work it back into your rotation. So I hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful. Those are the 3 bags that I sold and why. And the main telltale sign when I know I'm ready to rehome a bag. In case you're wondering, I do periodic closet sales through my Instagram, so please follow me on Instagram if you're curious. I do have stories highlights of pieces that I'm ready to let go from my closet, and then I do think, you know, it's the new year and all of that stuff, so I feel like it's a good time for me to evaluate the pieces in my closet and see, you know, which ones I might be able to clear out. So stay tuned for that in case you're interested. Let me know if you have any questions. Feel free to leave them down below or head on over to Instagram and I'd be happy to help however I can. If you liked this video and found it helpful, please give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate all of your feedback and support. If you like this kind of content and you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I post new fashion related videos every Sunday and Wednesday. So until next time, bye!